Yep, minus 5, and then, now what do I put on the top row up here?
3, 2, minus 1,
What James said.
You know what? This software sucks for synthetic division. At least there's no way to do it. So,
Just write on the board.
you guys are going to get the joy of my handwriting here.
Oh. Do we
Your
really
actual
have to?
handwriting is better than
Can
this.
we just write it on the board?
I really want to get this saved for you guys.
Yeah, just write it later and you figure out how to do it.
Pretty sure you just got rid of.
More than I wanted to. Yeah, I gave her some directions. Alright, hang on.
Press Control Z. Undo it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Control Z.
I was just doing that.
Control Z.
How far back was this looking go? There we go. That's the big part that I wanted to get, was that direction back at the bottom. Okay, let me try this. Minus 5, boom. What do we write across?
3, 2,
3, 2,
negative 1, 4.
Very good. What if we were missing a degree in there? What if we
Then you
didn't?
put in a 0.
Put a 0. You guys got it. Okay, what do I do with the 3?
You bring it down.
Then what?
Multiply by 5.
Negative 5.
So negative 15. 2 plus negative 15?
Negative 13.
Negative 5 times negative 13.
Who's got a calculator?
65.
Positive 65. And then?
64.
64.
Good
Yep.
grief.
And here's where
320.
positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative 320. 5 times 6 is 30. James added a 10 to that to make 300. I know. And then 5 times 20. He did the distributive property.
James, do you want to
5 times 64 is 5 times 60 plus 4. 5 times 60 is 300. 10 times more than 5 times 6. 5 times 4 is
No, I
20.
didn't do it that way. I times it by 10 and half.
Oh, interesting. Okay. No, I'm not going to show how that works. All right.
Wait,
Okay.
what did we do?
Now, times it by 10.
So you get 600.
640. And then cut that in half. 320. Nicely done. Okay, what's 4 minus 320?
What James said.
James.
You'll never get
Oh,
Negative
Negative
316.
Wait.
316.
Negative 316, yes. I know you're about to get mine.
What?
So what does this tell us the answer is? What do the 3, negative 13, 64, and minus 316 mean, Layla?
3x squared minus 13x plus 64 remainder negative 316.
Nicely said.
Over
Thank
x
you.
plus 5.
Yes. I'll say minus 316 over x plus 5. That's the other way of synthetic division. Since you're always dividing by a first degree term, it knocks the degree of the top polynomial down a notch. So this goes from 3x squared, this goes from x cubed to x squared, because you're dividing it by a first degree. There's actually a pattern to that. All right. This was a fun one. Given that 9 is a solution of the following polynomial, find all other possible solutions.
I think I like this one, I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, first off, there is a rule I gave. This is a shortcut. In pre-calculus or in other classes, you don't get these shortcuts. This was based on the idea, and I'll do this part on the board, in the review part here on the board. The idea that if you have x plus a times x plus b times x plus c, in other words, if you have a polynomial that's made up of a lot of things multiplied together, a lot of linear terms multiplied together, you can make some predictions. For example, this one, a quick prediction will be that the first term you're going to get is x times x times x, right? Yeah, so this is going to be x cubed plus, there'll be a lot of stuff in the middle as I distribute. So I'll have to do an x squared, an x times a b. I'd be distributing, but I'm not worried about that right now. The other thing is the last term of my polynomial is going to be a times b times c. Okay, the last term is going to be a times b times c. If you multiply all this together, it'll start with x cubed, and it'll end with these three numbers multiplied together. Now, the reason why that's important is if you're going to try and guess what these are, okay, if you want to try and find a, b, and c in order to break this down and solve it, because remember we factor it, then we set the factors equal to 0 to solve it. That all sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. then you would guess that these numbers, A, B, and C, that would go into your breakdown would be factors of negative 18. In other words, this negative 18 must have come from multiplying these numbers together in the first place. Now, this doesn't always work. Sometimes there are no solutions. Some polynomials never hit the x-axis. Well, so it's you would look at 1, you have to look at 1, 9, 2, 18, and all the positive and negative possibilities of them. And if there's a coefficient here, it gets even uglier. Now, we're not asking you to do that here because we're telling you that 9 is one of the solutions. And if 9 is one of the solutions, then that means x minus 9 is a factor. Which means we know we can divide this by x minus 9 and have no remainder. Okay? Now, there's two ways we can divide this by x minus 9. We just did them both on the other page. Who wants to do synthetic? Who wants to do polynomial? Synthetic. Now, if I tell you that 9 is a solution, and I do synthetic and we get a remainder, have we done synthetic correctly?
No.
No, not unless I've really screwed up and given you the wrong solution. Which I will try very hard not to do by triple checking my original problems and stealing my other problems from trusted sources.
Such as your test.
Mr. Singer's a very trusted source. Also, textbooks that have reached the 3rd or 4th edition usually have all the typos out of them. But yeah, those teachers are excellent sources. Although they, like me, steal a lot of their problems from good textbooks too. Okay, so I'm going to put a positive 9 out here. Now remember, this is an easy place to get confused. If 9 is a solution, x minus 9 is the factor. So if you're told it's a solution, you don't have to switch the sign. Two different types of directions. If 9 is a solution, use 9. If x minus 9 is a factor, you have to switch the sign. Does that make sense? If you start from x minus something or x plus something, you have to switch it. If you're just told the number's a solution, you don't. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay, is that understanding or stunned confusion? I'm never quite sure. All right, 1, negative 14, 47, negative 18. Bring down the 1.
9.
Yep, 1 times 9 is 9. What do I get when I add those?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. Negative 5 times 9?
45. Negative 45.
Negative 45. Plus 47?
2.
9 times 2?
18.
0. Hallelujah. Now,
You screwed
it
up.
says find all possible other solutions. Well, this tells us the answer. Okay? One way to look at this information is that x cubed minus 14x squared plus 47x minus 18.
Oh, you just got 4x.
So it does. And that line was terrible.
Yeah, your line sucks.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's try this again. Plus 47x minus 18, a little better, over x minus 9 equals x squared minus 5x plus 2. Okay, now, what we have to do is find the other possible solutions by solving this as a quadratic equation, as we went over yesterday. What are the various ways we can do that?
Synthetic division.
Okay, so no, that won't, not for a quadratic. I mean, we could. Okay, there's a couple things.
Quadratic formula.
Quadratic formula is probably the simplest. Okay, and the reason why, well, the first thing you should check is this factorable? Are there any things that multiply to positive 2 that add to negative 5?
No, sadly.
No, sadly no. So this is going to be a quadratic formula situation, and it's probably going to be an ugly one, but we need to review that anyway. So I'm going to, for the sake of my...
Do it and give us the rest of the day off.
Oh...
Why on earth would he do that?
He's nice.
I'm cheerful. I'm not nice. You guys have to learn this difference at some point in your
I'd
life.
rather just go.
Well, I didn't think it was going to work. I just thought I'd put it out there.
All right. It's appreciated. Okay. Here we go. Now. Okay. What is the quadratic formula?
Negative b plus or minus this.
X equals.
Yeah, that.
Okay. Negative b.
Plus or minus.
Hang on. I think we have to find that plus or minus symbol. Okay.
Square root of b squared